Welcome back, everyone. So, it's been a couple of days since this was announced, but due to power outages and me being out of town, I wasn't able to film this until now. Universus UVS Games just dropped their 2025 organized play plan, and there's a lot of interesting stuff to go over. So let's get into it. I have right here the 2025 organized play overview article from the UVS Games website pulled up. I'm not going to read it word for word, but we are going to go over all of the main highlights. So this is from Josh Massey and Levi Lalonde, and they're talking about the 2025 organized play cycle. So this will be from after Worlds 2024, which takes place in February of 2025. So after February 2025, moving into the organized play cycle of next year. So they said how they wanted to focus on simplicity, which might sound scary for longtime players because they've always talked about simplifying the game, and older players like me are kind of hesitant to do that. But this is how they're organizing. Instead of the big old chart of all your different events and all of that, they have 3 triangles. They have your local game store, which is more casual focused, and then your competitive focused triangle. So these all feed into each other, and then these two here, championships and regionals, lead into worlds. So I think we're going to start with the local cycle here, which are weekly organized plays, pre-releases, and the new organized play scramble. So pre-release is, of course, camera's a little tilted. Pre-release is what happens every new set that we get, every new core booster, which is usually once a quarter or every 3 months. A week before the set comes out, you get to have a pre-release where you get 6 packs plus usually a new promo card or an alternate art. You get to build a sealed deck, which is interesting and allows for a lot of fun combinations that you normally wouldn't be able to play. And I will be breaking down the different formats in separate videos for the Hermit School of Universus, so don't worry, those videos are coming. So that is one of the first things. It's kind of your new player friendly. You don't have to worry about symbols. You just get your cards and you play your cards, and you get access to a bunch of cool cards before the set actually comes out. So that's pretty cool. And it says these are going to be best of 1 4-round events. Usually they've been best of 3, or however the store wants to run them. Here they are advocating them to be best of 1 4-round tournaments to get you building with new cards and have a good time interacting with the local community and a new booster set. So that's pretty fun. Pre-releases are pretty much staying the same. That's awesome. Next, you have your organized play weeklies. So these are just, your Saturday tournament, your Tuesday tournament. For me, we have One Stop Anime on Saturdays and Primal Nerds on Thursdays, but I think starting next month that might be switching to Tuesdays. But that's for me to worry about, not you guys. So this is just your standard play. They're going to have from learn to plays and demos to standard constructed tournaments. You can always look forward to weekly events. They will be providing stores with promos for weekly events attendees, so you always get something for playing. So you always get your entry promo, standard fare. The new thing is the store scrambles. This is new to the 2025 cycle. These will be taking the place of the local qualifiers. So right now we have our local store qualifiers, which we get 2 per season, which can get you seasonal points, plus your entry into nationals if you win, or if you already have one, the national entry goes down to the next player who does not have one. So instead of local store qualifiers, we're now going to have local store scrambles. These events are designed to give newer players a low-stakes tournament experience that is more focused on learning how tournament play works. These will primarily focus on the most current booster set featuring the Spotlight format. So bring a fun and wild Spotlight deck, earn some promos, and have a good time. So It's really cool. It's going to be mainly like, hey, build a deck of the newest set, or build a deck with, just this set IP spotlight. So like Attack on Titan in the next, well, technically this is for 2025, so like when the third Attack on Titan booster comes out, maybe it's just an Attack on Titan scramble with all 3 of the Attack on Titan sets. Or if the set's as big as this one, maybe it's just a spotlight for that one set. I'm sure more details will come out about the scrambles when we get closer to Organized Play 2025, whether or not it is simply the set spotlight or the IP spotlight. We'll have to see from there, but it's kind of cool to have a low-stakes thing where you're just testing some deck-building ideas and just having a good time, and it's kind of low-stakes for the more new players. Sorry, one of the cats scared me. Whereas when you're trying to grind for nationals, you don't want your newer players getting kind of run over by more competitive players who are trying to earn those spots. Now, competitive players now have this triangle here. We have the store championships, the regionals, and it all leads to worlds. So before, this is going to keep the championship point structure. You'll be able to earn championship points, kind of like how we have our CP now with the SP seasonal points transferring into CP, and then championships, you get CP based on how you do. Regionals, you get CP based on how you do. Stuff like that. They're going to continue that, but they're making a couple of changes, and if you've already taken a look at this diagram, you can see something's missing. You may have noticed that national tier events are missing from this, and that means that national events, if you hear something weird, my cat's pawing at a file cabinet because he's special. Hey, quit that. Sorry. So as of 2025, they're removing nationals from at least the 2025 scene to focus more on regionals. So instead of earning points to where, okay, I need 10 points in order to get into nationals, you don't have to worry about nationals anymore. And they'll show you this. This is not intended to limit players, but to give you all the greatest experience at the regional level. In addition to hosting only regionals, they are also adjusting the frequency of regionals. So we're going to get more regional level events per region in the year. Right now we have 3 seasons. We have the Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. But now they're going to move to a structure that has something big almost every month of the year. That means starting in March, maybe April, your region might be getting a regional a month, which for big regions like US, North America, that might mean more people can travel. And we've always been decrying that we want more competitive events to go to instead of just one every 2 sets. Some people were saying, like, Girl Power. Is it Girl Power? I think it was Girl Power or Dark Tournament. That one of the sets kind of felt off. I think it was Girl Power because it didn't really have its own competitive format before the next set dropped. And I can kind of understand that. But within this structure, they will host regional events more regularly with a greater focus on areas with larger player bases, which means Oklahoma's still not getting a regional. But maybe we can have one in Texas. Maybe we can have one in Kansas or Nebraska. Places I can drive to in less than a day. That would mean I'd be able to compete in more tournaments. So that could be really, really awesome. This does not mean we will necessarily take events away from our region, but we will focus on them in a more appropriate way. And then he gets back to championship points. Players will earn championship points at qualifying competitive events, and those points will tie directly into the path of the World Championships. Without spoiling the structure completely, I will tell you that every point matters in that there will be no player cap at Worlds. No player cap. It used to be, I think it was top 16. It was a 16-player Worlds last year. This year is supposed to be a 32-player Worlds. 2025 Worlds will have no cap. It's virtually open invitation if you can earn enough points. So players in each region will be required to earn a set number of points for their Worlds invitation. And before I confuse anyone, I need to let everyone know one thing about this World Championship. 2025 World Championship will be a 3-day event with multiple invitation possibilities. And then they go into an example. This is not the final numbers. This is just an example. In this example, let's say that you need to earn 50 points to earn an invitation to Worlds. Let's say that in this system, winning a local championship can earn you 10 points. So you would only need to win 5 of these local store championships in order to make it to Worlds. And if you have multiple locals that are hosting multiple championships, you could get there pretty quickly. And let's say that winning a regional earns you 200 points, with other places below the winner earning fewer points based on final placement, so on and so forth. So those that earn 50 points from the example above will be invited to Worlds Day 1, where you can compete to advance into Day 2. Anyone who earns 200 or more points will receive an invitation straight to Day 2. So you get to skip the whole first day of grinding competition, 8, 9 rounds. You get to go into Day 2 fresh. So that is a huge benefit. I believe Pokemon VGC had a rule like this, that the top 8 players from each region could make it to Day 2 of their Worlds every year without having to play Day 1. And they said it was such a big advantage that they stopped doing it as of 2024. Which, obviously, that is insane. But if you're grinding out these events and you're getting all of these points, it makes sense that you're good enough to skip that first day. But they'll also be having a lot of other events, side events. For regionals, they're bringing prize walls back, and they're giving us even bigger prizes, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you win 200 or more points, you get a Day 2 invitation, so you can skip Day 1 automatically and only go into Day 2. The final tier within championship point structure will be for those who have earned the most points throughout the season. With the 2025 season, we will be closely watching the championship point leaderboard, and those who have earned the most points per region at the end of the cycle will have their airfare and accommodation paid for by UVS Games for the World Championship weekend. So, if you are one of the top earners in your region, they will pay for your flight, and they will pay for your hotel for the whole weekend. That's insane. Granted, this means those who can afford to pay to travel to a bunch of these tournaments, like if you can travel to every regional, if you can travel to 4 or 5 local championships, a month or however often they have them, if there are 8 regionals and you can afford to travel to 7 of them, likely you could have just afforded to travel to Worlds anyway. So I guess either way you're spending the money. So it does sort of favor people who can afford that, but at the same time, I mean, it's still a pretty good prize, and it encourages people to go out to the regionals and attend these events and really try to grind out some bigger, better events. Take a minute to sink in while we start talking about the events you can earn points at. First step is local championships. At the store level, we'll focus more on final placement than any other in-store event. That being said, there's a little something for everyone. Participation will earn you 1 championship point and a promo, and doing well will increase the number of championship points and the number of placement promos awarded, so you could get multiple promos instead of just your entry. Doing well in these events could even earn you an invitation to the World Championship, doing well enough in enough of these events. So that's how you could be like, oh, I could win 5 local store championships throughout the year, and I go to Worlds. Pretty cool. Then we have the regionals. So going into the regionals, they want regionals to feel more like an event than a tournament. The plan is to host an event that gives players, competitive or not, the desire to show up. So they will having the prize wall. They will be having even more side events, which can give you other new exclusive promos. They've been kind of pushing that more, where entering side events gives you a brand new alternate art promo that you can only get through side events. So that's pretty cool. Prize walls will have alternate art and treatment promos, as well as playmats for you playmat hounds. They'll also have deck boxes and other game accessories to really improve the look of your deck on the table. Contents in the prize wall will also change throughout the year for those who attend multiple regionals in the 2025 cycle. More on the prize walls later to come, which will probably, like they said, they change throughout the year, so each new regional will probably have a new prize wall with brand new promos, new treatments of promos, alternate arts, playmats. It's going to be huge. So those of you who maybe don't want to go to the regional and you just want to grind out some side events for playing for fun, but also for some of these really cool, beautiful promos, is really cool. Regionals will be held more regularly throughout the cycle. We'll be hosting the first regional of Cycle 2025 in March 2025. Okay, so we're starting the 2025 season in March, which is 1 month after the 2024 Worlds in February of next year. Making sure that there's always something exciting for new and competitive players. These events will, like local championships, award championship points for participation and placement. The higher you place, the more points you get, and the more additional rewards you get. Tournament will be pretty straightforward. All championship points earned from this tournament will be added to whatever has already been earned throughout the year, and getting you even close to or fully obtaining a World Championship invitation. And now the big show, Worlds. Like they said, it's going to be a 3-day event, with day 1 being the skirmish, the scramble, the knockdown, drag out among anyone who's qualified for Worlds and made it there, but hasn't qualified for day 2. Then, day 2, and there's also going to be side events, space for non-qualifying attendees to come play in side events, connect with the game. They're going to have a prize wall at Worlds. I can only imagine how big that prize wall is going to be. Then we have day 2. Those who automatically qualified or made it through the day 1 grind can enter day 2. Players will continue until we reach a top cut count based on player count, and those top cut players will automatically qualify for day 3. There is a video at the end of this article where Levi and Josh talk about what this is, and the example they said was, let's say that at the end of day 2, you needed to have, they would keep players that went X and 2. So you win, like say out of 9 rounds, you win 7 without losing 2 games. So you just go on a hot streak and win 7 games in a row. You could technically, that qualifies you for day 3, and you can just bow out and not play the final 2 rounds, which will allow you to get dinner, rest up. You don't have to worry about that. If you lose that 3rd round, though, you get that 3rd loss, you're automatically out, and that will kick you out of day 2. So it's kind of like a more regular tournament. So you basically have your big grind to get into day 2, and then you have your day 2, which is a basic regular day 1 tournament where you have to go X2 minimum. And that was just in the example they gave. And of course, more side events. And then day 3 is the top cuts. And we'll follow their games closely until someone reaches the title of World Championship. In addition to making top cut, all top cut players will automatically receive an invitation to the following year's Worlds. So, if you make day 3, you auto-invite into the next year's Worlds. It does not give you championship points, but you receive an automatic day 1. So you could just not play for the whole year, and you still get to go to day 1 of Worlds. So heaven forbid if something happens, you get sick, can't travel to as many events, you still qualify for Worlds. But also on day 3, they will be hosting a qualifying event for the following World Championship on day 3. So if you get knocked out of day 1 or knocked out of day 2, you can play in the qualifying event, and it'll award top placing players with a day 1 invitation to next year's Worlds. So if you scrub out on day 1, you just have a really bad time. You can play game day 2 in the side events, and then day 3, you can try your luck at the qualifying event to try to make it into day 1 of the next year's Worlds. So, pretty cool. And that would give you some breathing room for that next year. And of course, side events and prize wall. I think that's Tam in the background there. So, in conclusion, there's a whole bunch of changes going on. And if you check out this Organized Play update video, Josh and Levi did a great job on it. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. There still are no webcam tournaments until they get like a better structure for that, I suppose. But also, if they're trying to get more in-person regionals, so it's not just, oh, one on this side of the country, one on the other side of the country, I can kind of see that. You know, you want people to come interact with the game, interact with people. I know that some people still prefer webcam, and that could just be an easy way to grind points. Honestly, I would not have qualified for this year's Nationals if it wasn't for the webcam tournament at the beginning of the year, because that secured me my 10 points pretty early. And I didn't have to worry too much about points or winning local qualifiers or winning regionals. So the fact that Worlds isn't capped, that you can just earn championship points throughout the year, get to Worlds, and if you're one of the top earners, like say you win 2 regionals, get 400 points, and no one can catch up to that. You just get they send you a plane ticket and a hotel reservation, say, hey, you're coming on us, let's go. And that's always pretty cool. You get that VIP treatment. And of course, if you win enough points for the day 2 invite, where you're just like, I can just show up day 1, play a couple side events, maybe get some prize wall stuff, just meet people, hang out, relax. I don't have to grind as hard. Because imagine having to play in day 2 for 9 rounds after having to play 9 rounds day 1. You will be so much more exhausted, and you really want to grind for that day 2 invitation throughout the year. And I think they give you a lot more opportunities to do that, which is a plus in my book. A lot of people in the community have said we need more regionals, we need more big events where we can go and earn these points. And while they're keeping local store championships, for this year, all of the local store championships have had to be held on the same day. I hope that as the number of stores grow, that stores be allowed to hold their championships in a window, like a 1-week window of here from this Saturday to this Saturday. Because right now I have a second store, and they can hold a local store championship. Well, if it all has to be held on the same day, then it's 2 stores that are competing for people, and if you have to have a minimum of like 8 people to get points, right now, even between the 2 stores, we don't have a big enough group for that. So that's really, really hard unless we want to have one in the morning and one in the evening. And that's asking a lot of people who might have had to like take some time off work or something, or come down and travel to one event to then have to go to another event that's going to last another 4 or 5 hours. It's a little much. So just saying, hey, stores, you can hold your local store championship within this 2-week period would allow people like me to talk to my local stores, because I work with both of them to help organize events so that there's no crossover, so that we can get the maximum number of people to each store, a chance to communicate with each other and say, okay, you have this date locked, well, we have an event for this date, so we're going to do this date instead. That would really give stores, and by extension the communities, the flexibility that we need to make sure we get the maximum number of people per store per event. So I'd really appreciate that, UVS Games, if you're listening. I don't know if you watch this, but hopefully. But aside from that, I really dig this. I dig the focus on regionals and not having to worry about nationals, because right now I am planning to go to US Nationals in January. And I'm already saving for it. That's going to be pricey, even though it's just a 3-hour drive down to Dallas. You got to worry about hotels, all that. Well, if I then qualify for Worlds, if I make it to that top 8 of Nationals, I have to turn around and figure out how in 3 weeks I'm going to save up money to fly to Florida. So it's a little tricky there, that kind of turnaround from nationals to worlds. And I can only imagine with people who have to fly, who have to fly in. Like, if you don't have your passport, I don't know how other countries do it, but for the US, it could take weeks to get a passport. So if they were like, oh yeah, Worlds is in London this year, and I don't have my passport when I make that top 8 at Nationals in January, no way am I getting my passport by February. So not having a Nationals so close to a Worlds kind of cuts down on some travel costs. If you only have to worry about, okay, I'm going to grind events until I get my day 1 invite. And that's good enough for you. It'd certainly be good enough for me. That's all you have to do. And then you can start saving up for the Worlds travel. Or if you are one of those sweaty grinders like... can't think of any names right now. Let's Talk UVS. Their whole team travels to... I think almost all of them have been at almost every regional this year. That's insane. So they are the kind of people who want to get that day 2 invitation or the free travel, of course. So even depending on your level of competitiveness, if you're like, I just want to grind out till I get my Worlds invite, and I'll worry about day 1 Worlds when I get there, that's perfectly fine. If you're like, no, I want to guarantee day 2 so you can grind out more events, perfectly fine. Or if you want to chase the high dragon to, earning the VIP treatment, you can even do that. So it kind of lets you set up your tier of what you want to do throughout the competitive season. I think this is a great step in the right direction. Scrambles could be fun. I'm glad that they're still supporting local organized play and pre-releases. Like I said, my only issue with the championships is give us a window instead of one specified date, and I'd feel much better about it. But with that said, what do you guys think of the 2025 organized play road so far? I personally can't wait to see what we're going to be getting, especially when it comes to the prize walls. I know that they've been really upping the game on alternate arts for like the entry promos and such. So I can only imagine what the alternate arts and these, what did they call them for the prize walls? Treatment promos. I have no idea what that's going to mean, but I'm certainly interested. Playmats are okay. I have so many playmats, it's not even funny. Deck boxes could be cool. Other game accessories, maybe like dice, like the little damage dice and the direction dice. That could be fun. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2025 has in store. And I hope you guys are just as excited for this as I am. Make sure to check out this article for yourself and check out the video from Josh and Levi. It's here in the news article. It's also on their YouTube channel, the official UVS Games YouTube channel. So go check that video out, give it a like, do all the algorithm things like you should do on this video, giving it a like, subscribing if you haven't already. And if you want to help support the channel even further, there's a link to my Patreon in the bottom. Or if you're watching this on Patreon, hi, thank you for your support. It means so much to me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.